Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Is WWE booking Braun Strowman too strongly? I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to WrestleRamble, where on last night's episode of Raw, Braun Strowman was not just bullfrog splashed off a ladder through the commentator's table. He didn't just have the coup de grace and the glorious DDT hit on him. He had three guys ganging up on him for the majority of the match, and he still managed to overcome them all and win. Now, WWE not fully getting behind their wrestlers and pushing them properly is something we often criticise them for. And now we're going to sit here and say, or ask rather, are they now doing it too well, or too much rather? Because there is an argument, and this was like the main criticism of the episode that I saw online afterwards. The Braun Strowman has been booked too strongly, gets that Superman syndrome where you don't really invest in his matches because there's no peril there. He's always going to win.
Yeah, and it's something that I've found with Braun as of late, to be honest. I think we talked about this in a previous video. I said the problem with using, like, picking Braun as your guy to be like Raw's tippity top guy and put the Universal title on him is that they've now booked everyone else on the show to look like no one is a competitor to him. Like
apart from
maybe Bobby Lashley,
Brock Lesnar.
Well, yeah, okay, so Brock,
he's still with them, right? He's still a WWE guy.
I think he's still on the Raw brand.
Yeah, they mentioned him. He's still got the championship thing. Yeah.
Broken records and stuff. So, like, it just feels like there's no one on Raw that could be a legitimate contender to Braun outside of Roman and Bobby Lashley. And then that's it, really. And it's just like, and it kind of brings up again this whole point of, like, they've only got three top guys on Raw, which is Roman, Braun, and Bobby. They're all baby faces, and everyone else has just been kind of like flattened off either below Braun or just like towards the bottom of the card. And I think that it's just booking Braun to be like this is problematic.
I don't hate this.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, and I don't think WWE have booked themselves into a corner either. I really have enjoyed Braun Strowman's work since Backlash, because before Backlash it was just him teaming with Bobby Lashley where he would get a hot tag and then it'd take out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. There's only so many times I could watch that play out and I was kind of like, well, you're just burying Owens and Zayn week after week. There's nothing new here. I don't buy into you more because of it, and I certainly don't buy into the heels. But then since Backlash, he's had this really nice feud with Finn Balor that I would love to see turn into an actual title program eventually, I think. And he's shown enough vulnerability in those Finn Balor matches where Finn Balor has had him almost beaten near the end, where I think Strowman's character has had enough. And this just makes Strowman look awesome. I feel like this, and it was a really fun four-way main event, I thought. Both four-ways on this episode of Raw were. It opened with the women's Money in the Bank participants' fatal four-way. And Strowman here really dominated them, but he was taken out for a portion of the match, but then he came up and it allowed Kevin Owens to sell the horror that Strowman has set up from this bullfrog splash. And I think this is necessary for what they're probably going to do this Sunday. And that is all 7 men are going to have to team up and do something crazy to take Braun out. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this was the setup for the version that works on Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Which is fine, but the question is, like, what do you do with Braun next?
Oh, that wasn't rhetorical.
No, it wasn't a rhetorical.
You want an actual answer?
Actual question.
Well, so he shouldn't win Money in the Bank.
No.
He doesn't need it. If Elias wins the IC title, I mean, Strowman hasn't... Well, he has won the tag team title. I was going to say he hasn't won gold yet.
Yeah.
But he has with Nicholas. How could
you forget?
I think everyone has.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I genuinely had. It was only like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I think Strowman getting the IC title would be pretty decent. And then he can feud with Finn Balor over that.
Finn Balor is about the only guy, because I did. There is a spot during the Fatal 4-Way, which I did enjoy. Actually, I thought the main event was a lot of fun. I thought the women's match was much better.
Really?
I thought the women's match was awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. But like, there was a great moment during it when Finn Balor, like, and Coachman even said Finn would have got the win there had it not been for, I think it was Bobby Roode that broke it up. And like, yeah, and it was, but throughout the show, Kevin Owens essentially said to both Finn Balor and Bobby Roode, you can't beat Braun Strowman, and they went, no, you're right, I can't. Absolutely, you are 100% right. I cannot, and that's my thing with Braun at the moment. Is they're building it. They're positioning him as a guy who cannot be beaten, and everyone on the roster is going like, "Yep, nope, he cannot be beaten." So, what do you then do with someone who cannot be beaten? It's not like Asuka when she had her undefeated streak, and it was like, "Oh, will she lose her undefeated streak?" This is more a case of like, or like, who will beat her undefeated streak? This is a case of like, no, who is going to survive Braun next?
It's an interesting argument, and I do agree. I also am very conscious that WWE never properly push people who are over like this, and they're finally strapping the rocket to someone we very much enjoy watching. So I'm hesitant to criticize it too much in case it falls apart.
Absolutely,
but I guess the antidote to this would be, rather than all these wrestlers saying themselves, it's fine for Braun Strowman to go, I'm going to crush you, and then win, but the other wrestlers should at least think, no, I can beat you.
Exactly,
I've studied you.
Yes.
I'm better than you because I'm a better wrestler, or I'm quicker, all these other elements that Braun lacks. Because just because you're a big monster, that doesn't mean you're invincible.
Exactly.
Look at Goliath.
In
that famous biblical feud,
I was about to say,
David and Goliath.
Who did he wrestle for?
Yes.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I'm sure he was a WCW wrestler. Sounds like the sort of name they would have had.
Exactly. Yeah, he was probably part of the Dungeon of Doom. Yeah, but that's kind of my thing. I think with Braun, I really like Braun, and I really like watching Braun wrestle. And you are right. Like, it's great to finally see WWE get behind a wrestler that the fans actually like. Like that, it's quite refreshing, really, in sort of this day and age. But it's also, you got to kind of that thing of just like, I don't think I'm looking forward to the next Braun feud, because at the moment they're just positioning everyone as like, nope, I'm just not on his level, or I'm not smart enough to beat him.
Yeah, I am interested in Braun. I totally get why you wouldn't be, but me personally, I've really enjoyed the Balor stuff. And to be honest,
I have missed the past two.
Yeah.
So I missed the Braun Balor match.
They had two matches.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I think I would like to see him against Kevin Owens. I would like to see him against... Remember that Sami Zayn feud he had when the heel-face dynamic was reversed about a year and a half ago?
Yeah, but that was a different Braun Strowman then. Mm-hmm. Like, the Braun Strowman that was then was someone like, oh yeah, Braun can't be beaten. But Roman was also beating him every now and again.
And Sin Cara.
Remember? So, like it was a different Braun Strowman then.
Was it Kalisto?
Oh, it might. It was Kalisto, absolutely.
Kalisto. Sorry, they all look the same, these masked luchadors.
But that was a different Braun character. The Braun character we've got now is this one that is just like, get these hands, and like smashing ladders and whatnot. So like, I don't think it would work as well. Also, like, I don't think I want to see Braun Strowman beat up Kevin Owens again.
Yeah.
Because we saw it all like, it felt for like 3 months between WrestleMania and Backlash, even though it was only 6 weeks.
So Strowman really could do with a little character flaw. Because
his kryptonite.
I really liked it last year when he was in his feud with Roman, and the commentators would put over how Braun is lacking a little bit of experience. And I think it was the Fastlane match last year where he went for a top rope move, and that was essentially what lost it. And they're saying on commentary, it's that lack of experience. He shouldn't have gone for a top rope move at that time. But now he does have the experience. So you need maybe that he no-sells to, I don't know what the kryptonite could be.
Well, I was going to say, it feels at the moment like, you know when people who don't really read comic books say, like, well, Superman's a boring character because like he's impervious to everything and like nothing can beat him. But then people who actually read the comics will be like, no, like he's got all of these things here. That's what Braun doesn't really have. I know, and you are one of those people.
Well, I've never bought into that argument because I do read comics and I do read a lot of Superman.
And he is,
but it's very hard to write for him.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because he is like the least interesting of the big Justice League.
I wouldn't say he's the least interesting.
It's fine to be contrarian to a contrarian. Where does the meta stop? So at the end of this match, this really good 4-way, everyone hit. So there was the Finn Balor bit where he did the shotgun drop kick, and then the coup de grace. That was where it looked like Balor might have won it. And that wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world, actually,
I really
going
don't
into
think it
Money
would
in the
have-
Bank.
No, really not.
Strowman definitely had an out with the stuff that had happened previously. But Bobby Roode breaks it up. Bobby Roode hits the glorious DDT. But then Kevin Owens saves that. And then Kevin Owens he hits the bullfrog splash, but then Braun kicks out. And then which is fine because it's not a finishing move. And then Kevin Owens gets a short ladder, one of those tiny ladders from underneath the ring, and just hits Braun with it. And Braun is no selling it. But he's no selling it. And I really like this. He's no selling it in a way where he is actually getting hurt, but to sort of intimidate your opponent, he's acting like it doesn't hurt. Because as soon as he gets the ladder off him, he's sort of like holding his ribs. He even punched his ribs at one point to kind of psych himself up, which is what Kenny Omega does a lot when he starts to like sell too much or punch his arm if it's hurting to get it back to life.
Kylo Ren thing.
Yes, yeah. And then Braun hit a wicked and must have sucked for Owens running power slam onto that short ladder. It's definitely something to be concerned about, but right now I think it's for me. I like what they're doing with Braun.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think that there is certainly a discussion to be had about whether he is being booked, quote, too strong, but at the same time, I kind of like it.
Should we get on with the rest of the show?
Haha, it's a Raw review looking jacked, man!
So are they promoting Money in the Bank with this opening segment, or the new WWE board game, Wrestlers and Ladders?
This is one of my least favourite things. Like, because they've done this before, where, like, all the wrestlers cut promos from the top of ladders. And it's funny, because Corey Graves, one of the first things he says was, like, I've never seen this before. And I'm like, you literally did this. Like, I'm pretty sure you probably did this last year. You certainly did it previously. But it is just, it looks dumb. I just think it looks so stupid. Because it looks so unnatural.
And orchestrated and
Like,
staged.
why would you, as a wrestler in this kayfabe world, have walked down to the ring and climbed that ladder? Like, what were you all waiting for?
Brian Alvarez pointed out on Wrestling Observer Radio's review
I'm sure he loved it.
He was a big fan.
He was like,
Kevin Owens is afraid of heights.
oh yeah, but then he jumped off a ladder later on in the show, so
Yeah.
I guess that's all dropped now.
Yeah. This was horrid. It was really bad.
And it only got worse.
And it's like it's a visual. Like I get it. You want a strong visual. Maybe you take a few photos and you use that to promote the event because that as a visual really encapsulates what Money in the Bank's about.
Standing on ladders. And cutting promos.
And the prizes are there. You're being facetious, but it is like that is a good image.
Yes.
But in practicality, if you're trying to make this a real presentation, it looks utterly ridiculous and so stagey. And just, I guess they haven't done it to defend Corey Graves. I don't know why I would, though. They haven't done it with the male and female competitors.
I suppose they haven't. There is that.
And I felt that made it look more ridiculous. Especially the different heights of ladders.
Yeah. The only thing I will say, what I did like about
ladders were in there.
What I did like about this, actually, is because it's something that you don't really see within WWE, which is almost like, it felt like these two worlds like colliding, the men's division and the women's division in the ring at the same time. Like, you don't really see that. It was like the Avengers, whereas all of a sudden you're like, it's Captain America and Iron Man on screen at the same time.
I think that is hyperbole.
I'm using it as an extreme example.
Yeah.
But like when you got to see Alexa Bliss say, like, oh, I think that, I didn't like the verbiage, but like my mixed match challenge partner Braun is going to win, and they had that little cute little smile together, and then Sasha like, actually, I think that my mixed match challenge winner is going to be, and I was like, and then Baron was like, yeah, and I think that if there's going to be a Raw woman, it's going, and the wording was horrible, but the actual visual of everyone in the ring at the same time together was quite nice.
No, it wasn't nice.
On the ladders, horrible. But like the women and the women and men in the at the same time, that I liked.
And when they mentioned mixed match challenge, I also thought I've forgotten completely about that. Even though we'd mentioned it the previous week about SmackDown when they had an intergender tag match, I didn't hate the conversations back and forth. I quite like Kevin Owens' stuff about Braun Strowman shouldn't get, like, there should be a handicap there because he's already quite tall.
Yeah.
And so I think it was an anniversary of Dusty Rhodes' death as well.
It was yesterday,
and
yeah.
Owens had the line, a Hard Times line in there. So that was nice.
That's nice.
Because, that all those NXT people who went through NXT feel very indebted to Dusty.
Absolutely. So I thought there was some nice bits in this, but it just looked so horrible. And then Natalya had the worst line of all.
Oh, she's terrible. She's so bad on promos.
Because Alexa said that she's going to win, even though she's hurt. And Sasha Banks was like, I actually don't think you're hurt. I think you're faking it. And then Natty was like, actually, I'm going to win, and I'm going to cash in on my best friend, Ronda Rousey. And in my head, all of a sudden, I thought was Ivory, my friend. That's all the first thing I thought of.
It was like as if this wasn't stagey enough already. You have to say it that way.
Yeah.
Really. I don't know where they're going with Natalya. Well, I think I know where they're going with Natalya, but it's so obvious now. It feels like a swerve.
That you think she's going to win?
Well, it would dictate, and what we've all speculated on was Natalya wins Money in the Bank, Ronda wins the women's title, and then Natalya turns on Ronda and cashes in the briefcase.
It's certainly a possibility, yeah.
But this was so
but then Natty won.
Obviously setting that up that I feel, well, if she's going to go against Ronda, she should win because you want them to look strong.
I suppose, yeah.
And usually WWE don't do that unless they've spent a lot of money on someone where they actually book logically.
That's very true.
It feels too obvious. But, I mean, what... So they're all just standing there on these ladders,
and then just
silently,
and then talk. Oh, right at the start.
This is before the promos start.
Yeah.
They're all just sitting there, and they're all kind of like looking off in different directions. And in my Raw review, I've said it was like the South Park Christian rock album cover, where they're all just looking off forlornly. And then Kurt Angle comes out, and he starts to recap stuff. Why? And then. The most interesting thing about this segment...
Oh, yeah?
Baron Corbin
came out. As Adam Machiti put it, got an upgrade. He came out just looking so much better.
I don't know. I think it's going to take me a while to get used to this.
With shaved head Corbin.
Lex Luthor Corbin. I didn't... I still like him more with the long... It's just... When I saw him come out, I was initially, hey, you shaved your hair. And then I was immediately, why did you not save that for a stipulation? Why would you ever shave anyone's hair off bald, especially if you're a heel, if you haven't got a program to work that through?
That's very true.
You could have really elevated another guy. Baron Corbin, he's the heel constable of Raw, and he's got everyone knows he's going bald. It was a funny chant we did at the London shows. So why do you not make that a part of his character, where he's really not protective over his hair, but it's so obvious. It's an open goal, but you just shave his head.
Yeah. For example, I am a man who is very rapidly losing my hair. I do not have a lot of it left. And we have talked, like, if we were to... I mean, we're probably not going to do it. If I ever was to shave my head, I would do it as a WrestleTalk punishment, as opposed to just doing it.
I'm never going to wax my gooch out of pleasure. But I would do it for a WrestleTalk punishment, because... And it would be quite beneficial, really. It's too much down there.
But we cannot
Way
load that.
Too much.
Cannot load that to YouTube, though, can you?
I think you can. You wouldn't get a close up. You wouldn't get the abstract close up that you see in some videos of that ilk.
Yeah, but I think even then, like, YouTube's quite, sometimes it can be a bit like, we've put videos
Just
up.
be my face.
We have put videos up with a thumbnail where someone is throwing a punch, and YouTube have gone like, whoa, hang about, lads.
That looks violent. So, again, more staginess. That segment finishes, and we know we're going to get the women's four-way next. So that's all of the Money in the Bank lady version competitors from Raw. Natalya, Sasha Banks, Ember Moon, and Alexa Bliss. And they go to break. When we go to break, all the ladders, all 8 people still in the ring. We come back from break. It's just 3 of those lady members. So they got rid of the ladders, the men, and Alexa Bliss. Because Alexa Bliss had to then make her entrance.
I know. Alexa makes her entrance. ... Again? Like, it was... I don't know. And the commentator going like, Alexa had to get a special entrance in. I'm like, why? Why did she?
Because she's losing? And that somehow protects her? I don't know. It was very bizarre, and it just looks stupid if you're paying attention. I think WWE really does book their shows as if it's background viewing. Whereas people like us, and I imagine the people who are watching this video as fellow Ramblers, SWAF Nation members, they do watch this stuff very closely, and it's very patronising to see it like this.
Yeah, but maybe you're just being a nitpick.
Hey, there's always that as well. But, like you said, this was your favourite match on the show.
I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a cracking little match. It got really, really great by the end with some just full of really great spots. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought all the girls worked really hard. And, like, Ember Moon's flying through the ropes. Crikey O'Reilly. So, like, Sasha Banks does this awkward-looking flip dive thing where essentially it looked like she fell over. But at the same time, like, she managed to pull it off.
Falling with style,
it was
as Woody would put it.
Buzz, you mean? Oh, no, you're right. Woody would say he's falling with style. I do apologise. And then Buzz says it at the end of the film. So I was half right, from a certain point of view, as the Attitude Era podcast would say. And the point I was making. So anyway, so Sasha does this big flip dive, sort of big. And then Ember launches herself through the ropes, just like 150 miles an hour, just flies through the ropes and just like throws herself into Sasha, and they just crash into the barricade. Looked awesome.
Someone's
really
been
good.
watching Stardom. That's what I got from that. But I guess she's always done those kinds of dives.
She has, yeah. But I just thought it was really cool. I just thought everything in this was really well done.
Particularly from Ember Moon and Banks.
Yes.
I really enjoyed their work. And I a heel Sasha Banks against a face Ember Moon, that could be a really good feud. And I know I've said I'm a bit ambivalent towards Moon in the past. I still kind of am, but she's winning me over with her in-ring work.
I've always liked Ember Moon. I don't know what her character is, apart from the fact she likes Dungeons and Dragons.
Contact lenses.
Yep, which makes me like her anyway. But I just think that I think she's really great.
And Natalya won this by tapping out the entrance Alexa Bliss. Yeah. Maybe that's what she should be billed as. The entrance.
So what's Mandy Rose? The stunning Mandy Rose.
She's the stunning Mandy
So
Rose.
she is the entrance Alexa Bliss. Very nice.
So yeah, Natalya winning there, even though she was also selling her knee injury, could be... Usually, the theory is if you lose on the go-home show, if you win on the go-home show, you lose at the pay-per-view. Statistically, that's not actually true. Like, it's actually under 50%. So it doesn't give anything away, but that's the mindset. But I feel like this was... They're giving Natalya a win because they're booking her strongly to eventually lose to Ronda.
Perhaps, yeah. Did you see, the Natalya action figure that came with the Money in the Bank briefcase, which a lot of people were like, well, that's probably a big indication. You see, there was a Becky Lynch one as well.
Well, there were briefcases for everyone.
Was it briefcases for everyone?
Briefcase for you! Briefcase for you, yeah. The basic 78 series, or most of these little series of Mattel action figures, they come with variants.
Oh, I see.
So, like, The Rock also had a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Well, so he's winning on Sunday.
A lot of people are winning. Even people who aren't in the Money in the Bank match.
New Day are going to reveal their new fourth member, The Rock, and he's going to win it.
Because they need more charisma, don't they? That'd be too much.
It's just what they're lacking. It's just what they're really missing.
Next up, we had Kevin Owens approaching Finn Balor backstage, and this was the running narrative throughout the night of Owens trying to get his fellow male Money in the Bank Raw participants to gang up on Braun Strowman in the main event.
Yeah, Kevin Owens offered Finn Balor a bowl of olives because it's an olive branch, so to speak. And he points out they're both former Universal Champions who never got their rematches.
Yes, I like that,
yeah,
because that is a sort of glaring hole in WWE continuity. I've just written here, what about Sami Zayn?
Well, yeah, okay, so this isn't, yeah.
No disqualifications on a Fatal 4-Way.
No, and also, like, when we saw Raw in London, it was the main event triple threat, and during that show, I thought, like, I guess they've just dropped that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn friendship thing because they're now in two different storylines. And then Sami helped Kevin win the main event so he could qualify for Money in the Bank. And that's never been brought up again since.
Well, it was... Bobby Lashley was also in that match. So Sami took out Lashley. And you've got the Lashley-Zayn feud. You can't have feuds crossing over, Luke.
Sorry, my mistake.
People will get confused because nobody watches these programs with their full undivided attention.
No, they're checking Twitter.
Ugh. They're cooking. They're making stuff with the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're on the phone.
It was also at this point as well that Owens, and it kind of ties into what we were talking about at the start, Owens said in so many words, if Braun wins and cashes in, we may never be champion again.
Yeah. I like how Owens is really terrified of Strowman.
As well he should be. He's a terrifying man.
Then we got Mac and Dolph beating Breezango.
I mean, when we want to talk about wrestlers getting new looks, Tyler Breeze with his beard.
Yeah, he's gone Hulk Hogan.
Yes, it was like that's my first name. Very beardy Tyler.
And Fandango had his hair pinned up in a way where it looked like it was short. And I was thinking, what's going on here? It's haircut-a-mania. They're cutting promos, cutting hair more like.
Nice.
This was Mac and Dolph trying to get some momentum back after they were eliminated first in the Battle Royal last week, which was just full of jobber teams, and it was to become the new number one contenders. Of course, B Team won that, and Mac and Dolph were eliminated first.
Yes.
And when it happened, I was kind of hoping, for me, how I view this, that I would see it as just a throwaway thing, and Mac and Dolph would be fine the next week. When they came out, they weren't as cool as they were before that Battle Royal elimination.
It doesn't help as well when Coach is now calling them the D&D train.
Did he?
Yeah, that's his new name for them. The D&D train, and you all need to get aboard.
Oh, God's sake. Not Coachman's only bad call of the night. When is it ever? But they quickly beat Breezango here. Drew powerbombed Tyler Breeze onto Fandango's back.
That looked awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, that in-ring wrestling is really, really good together, the way they combine the movesets. But then they cut a promo afterwards about how they're going to... The only way to save this tag division is to take out every single team in it. So why don't they beat up Breezango more here and fully write them off TV? It's going to take... the last week in the Battle Royal didn't kill them, but it has not done them any favours.
No, as we said last week, you didn't need to put them in there. In fact, actually, it would have been more beneficial to them as characters to not put them in there, because as you said last week, Mac and Dove could have cut the promo this week of just like, we weren't even allowed to be in the Tag Team Battle Royal because they'd know we would just destroy everyone and win.
Or maybe they see it as a joke.
We're being held back. Or yeah, they see it as a joke.
And so we're excusing ourselves from this, this whatever this is.
Yeah.
We're going to destroy each and every one of you, and then we're coming for the titles.
Totally.
Alas. Brock Lesnar is the new longest reigning top champion in the modern era in WWE.
Yep.
435 days.
I'm sure this will not spark discussions about whether it counts because it's a different title.
And CM Punk confirmed return, right, I guess?
Well,
because he was the last one. This is obviously to set up a feud between the two.
Is that where we're going?
Return confirmed.
He lost against Michael Jackson on purpose so that he could come back.
So after this, we got Roman Reigns taking on Jinder Mahal. At least at first, that's what it was billed as.
A bit worried about that.
This was announced earlier in the day, and I just thought, oh my God, of all the matches to put on both Money in the Bank and on Raw, you've gone for this. We're going to see this matchup twice in 6 days. We just watched Dominion, and now we're getting this. But that wasn't what they were going to do. Jinder actually had a nice little swerve where Roman came down to the ring and said, I never said you were facing me. I said you were... Which WWE's promotion team really should have picked up on.
Yeah, well, I think what it was is that Jinder laid out the challenge to Roman, and Roman accepted. And then the marketing team and the graphics team assumed that Jinder meant himself, as did Roman. And then Jinder probably was backstage telling everyone, like, yeah, it's me. Yeah, make sure we do this and put that in the running order. And then in the actual ring, he said, no, it's not me. You, in fact, are going to face another great Indian wrestler, the great Sunil Singh, which I thought was a really nice touch.
That was the only good thing about this.
Yes.
And he even did, like, one that towers above everyone else. And I thought, oh my God, are they actually bringing back... There's no way they can do this now. And then he said Sunil Singh. I was like, you've worked me, Jinder.
Very good.
Well played.
Who was it last week that said the winds are changing? Or there's going... Or the
that was Jinder.
Was it Jinder?
Yeah.
Because he said it again this week.
And I said
That's his
that
new character.
It feels like it's building towards a big impending storm.
Yes.
But nope.
Well, it was.
Maybe it is.
It is. We're going to get a corking match at Money in the Bank, no doubt.
So if this was Jinder's big plan, and he's, you're not really going to derail Roman Reigns by giving him Sunil Singh, as is what transpired when Reigns defeated Singh in seconds with a spear, 1, 2, 3, and then and I was like, okay, this is where Jinder attacks Roman and that they do a big beatdown angle heading into Money in the Bank. But he doesn't. He hits one Colossus, one of his finishing moves, and then goes away.
He left him laying, man.
All of this...
To leave him laying, he proved a point, I guess.
But it's not like Jinder has... But what is the point?
Which shows that Jinder can beat Roman if he hits his move.
But it doesn't, because it was blindsiding...
Yeah, but Sunil Singh will be there. Sunil Singh will be there causing a distraction on Sunday as well.
I thought this was so insanely weak and insipid
Your
as an
version,
angle.
again, your version is much better, where Jinder does a wicked beatdown on Roman to properly leave him laying, so then Roman is going into Money in the Bank injured. But then that might be a storyline, and I don't think that's what WWE are going for.
Well, just look at this feud so far. Jinder cost Roman that Money in the Bank spot. That's what started all of this a number of weeks ago. And then every week since then, it's been Roman finding Jinder and beating him up backstage. And 1 week, Roman wasn't even on TV. So Jinder has never been portrayed as an actual threat, not even from a cheating standpoint. And here was the time to do that. So I don't believe Jinder can beat Roman. I don't care about Jinder beating Roman or Roman beating Jinder. What possible reason is there to be invested in this feud?
Well, I said this on Saturday's video, where why is Raw so boring at the moment, specifically looking at this match. What does Roman get if he beats Jinder? And what does Jinder get if he beats Roman? Neither guy gains nothing from this match. Because it's not like the winner of this is going to be the new number one contender to the Universal Championship when Brock Lesnar returns at SummerSlam. It's not even being built as that. It's just, it's a match. And you can do blood feuds without stipulations or without titles or anything like that. But that requires a Tommaso Ciampa Johnny Gargano feud. It doesn't really work with just these two lads.
Yeah, clues in the name, blood. Blood has been drawn in a feud.
Yeah.
This is just a slight disagreement.
And it's you compare that, say, down in NXT, where you've got Ricochet and Velveteen Dream. They're having a match at TakeOver Chicago. There isn't a belt on the line, but both men are doing that to kind of jockey for position in who should be the next number one contender. There is a point to that match. This match has no point, which is why it's difficult to get invested in.
That sums it up perfectly. It's a pointless feud.
Yes. It's something for them to do.
Maybe the creative team have just been okay, we really need to distract Vince with something. Let's book this and then we can... But it's not like the rest of Raw's improved with Vince distracted over there.
No, I guess the point of it was to get Roman cheered because people don't like Jinder. So by osmosis, you're booing Jinder, you're going to cheer Roman. I guess that was the intention. It was like when they gave Roman the US Championship to make him the All-American hero as a way to get him cheered.
Wow. And Roman just feels so weak. Not weak, but just not over.
It's because he's lost at WrestleMania and he's been flattened since then.
He's lost so much momentum.
Yeah.
And it's not that he ever had a babyface momentum, but he certainly had a kind of momentum about people disagreeing about him. Now it's just I just want him off. And it's a shame because he's a great wrestler and he's a good performer. Oh well. B-Team beat Rhino and Heath Slater, making them look strong heading into their title match this weekend. They beat him very quickly, which made it the third squash match in a row.
I didn't even pick up on that, but yeah, it is.
And the Deleter of Worlds appeared at the top of the ramp afterwards.
Well, no, they were on the screen first.
Yes.
And said some words, and then they appeared on stage and said some more words, and then the segment ended.
Yeah, it wasn't a great promo. It was just it was just there, wasn't it?
Well, so again, tying back into this is a pointless feud, Jinder and Roman. I feel like this is also a very pointless feud because it's not a feud. These two haven't. The B Team won a battle royal last week. This is the first time these two have actually interacted, and all it was the Deleter of Worlds saying stuff, and the stuff they would say in any promo. So it's nothing. Again, it's giving you no reason to care about the feud.
So I never saw this as a proper thing anyway. This is just a filler comedy feud for me, and I think it's doing it perfectly fine. It's not going to be a big payoff match. Probably go quite short. Don't expect a title change, and it is the payoff of actually at least a month-long running story of the B Team forming and trying to get a title shot. So I don't mind it from that perspective. What I do mind is that it's on the pay-per-view card.
That's my point I was going to make.
This is one of those matches that you could just put on Raw, create kind of like a super show feel to the go-home Raws, which is what they really should do, especially now the pay-per-views are so crowded, them being co-branded. That rhymed quite well. And, yeah, like, why not have this match here?
I agree.
Saved 11 matches. It's going to be a long Sunday night.
Is it 11 matches now?
At the moment, yeah, I think.
What was the 11th one?
I can't remember.
Oh, no, it was... Did they announce Almas versus... or was that taking place on SmackDown? Almas and Sin Cara?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Or is it Kalisto? Next up, we got probably the best segment of the night, actually. Elias is so over as a heel, and he had the crowd in the palm of his hand. Arkansas...
Yeah, and he sang a great song about Seth Rollins, pointing out something that the Kayfabe News had reported last week, which is that confusing architect tells people to burn it down.
Yeah. He also debuted a new guitar that he said he's going to debut once he's won the Intercontinental title at Sunday, and it's just this, it's a guitar with the IC title spray painted onto it. And it gave me very Rick Rude or Velveteen Dream vibes when he would paint his opponent's faces on his tights. So I liked that. And Elias was just so over as a heel and doing the John Mayer stuff. Coachman described him as a hip-hop legend.
Who? Elias or...
John Mayer.
You had to tell me who he was this morning because I had no idea.
I wouldn't describe him as a hip-hop person.
Okay. Is he a music man?
He's a music man, yeah. He's a guitar player.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Who dates a string of famous and beautiful women who he, breaks up with eventually. What a Lothario.
Is he a solo man or is he part of a band?
I think he jams around. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
He's a jammer. But Seth Rollins comes out waiting until after this song about him is over.
Yeah.
So he's not that offended.
I did like that Elias called him a tool in the song. Elias is great.
And Rollins comes out, he sort of throws Elias out the ring, and Seth's just cutting this promo saying, look, you're really, really good. You've got like all this charisma and stuff, and I just want you to use it for good, but you're not. You're being a little dick about it. And then he says, you've got all these guitars, and he looks at the guitar that's still in the ring. This was a really well-executed segment when the crowd all realise at the same time. I didn't think, when I saw that guitar, I thought, that's getting broken next week. I didn't think that's getting broken in a bit.
Yeah, I thought it would be something that gets broken on Sunday at the pay-per-view.
And it was really well structured to make me want that guitar to be broken.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have liked to have savoured that. Have Elias using it and, I think proudly presenting it for sort of weeks on end, and then Seth breaks it, as opposed to just being like, here's a guitar, it's broken. Because I didn't have as much of impact as it possibly could have done. But I did think this was the best segment on the show.
It's a hot go-home angle, that's what it was.
It was spicy.
When Seth Rollins realises the guitar's there, he puts it in the middle and he's really milking the crowd for ages, Seth, saying, well, I've got a song, you know the words, it's got those 3 beats, burn it down, burn it, and he just curb stomps. Curb stomping a guitar isn't as visually impressive as slamming the guitar on the ground.
No. But it's more in keeping.
Yeah. I just... Because there was a bit where Seth Rollins said, this is great that you've got this guitar from John Mayer. That's amazing, man. There's only one problem. And I thought he was going to say, I hate John Mayer. And then smash the guitar, which would have been so much cooler. But they didn't, because WWE like pop culture, don't they?
Is he pop culture, though?
In America, he's a big deal.
Has he had a song recently?
I don't know. He's one of those guys that just seems to always be in the celebrity news bits.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Man, you learnt so much when you worked at 4Music.
Hey, my knowledge stops at 2013, though. I can't tell you what he's done since, apart from break up with Katy Perry. Why? Next up, we had Kevin Owens approaching Bobby Roode backstage.
Yeah, and he gave him the same offer that he gave to Balor earlier in the night.
Then we had Ruby Riott taking on Bayley in a pretty decent match as well.
Well, before that, though, we got Riott and the rest of the Riott squad causing all sorts of havoc backstage. I think they might have kicked a Coke can at one point.
Yeah, things really kicked off.
The cleaner had to spend an extra, at least 90 seconds sweeping all that up.
And they went up to a sort of stagehand and just cut his tie off.
Oh, man, that's a nice tie.
Wow, they are so rioty.
So, I have written here, they do all sorts of riot things.
I wish Ruby Riott didn't have Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan.
Yeah,
she's so good by herself.
I know, but I really like Sarah Logan, so I'd really like Sarah Logan to be off doing her own thing.
But that would make perfect sense because Sarah Logan really does not fit this gimmick.
No.
She needs to be the trapper. Trapping gay meat.
If you are interested in hearing more of Ollie's impersonation of Sarah Logan, you should definitely check out the Patreon exclusive podcast where we review Judgment Day 2000 because it's essentially the same as his Gerald Briscoe impersonation.
Oh, God damn it.
Mr. Man.
I was going to get the coffee. What do you want? You wanted the gay meat? Oh, no, darn it. It's going to be cold.
It's wonderful.
So they had a decent match. I've just written down here, though, this is a good match, but I don't care about it because the Ruby Riott Bayley Sasha Banks series of matches is just tainted for me by that Bayley Banks never-ending, never-payoff feud.
Yeah, it feels like this is something that's going to come into its own next month, I guess, after Money in the Bank is out of the way and Sasha Banks can start teaming with Bayley to take on the Riot Squad,
God.
I guess.
They've done that already!
But I don't know, I'm guessing that's where they're going with this, because Riot, she gave her the Riot kick, and then she did the most riotous thing of all, she drew on her. She got a big old Sharpie out and drew an R on her abs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey and Nia Jax had a face-to-face next.
They certainly did. I liked that backstage Ronda was waiting to put on her jacket for the camera to find her, and then she flicked on her jacket and made her entrance.
Looking cool, and Natalya, always there with sage advice. Don't take your eye off Nia. God, Natalya's so bad. She's really no good, and she's great. That's the problem.
Yeah,
but she's stuck with this role of, I don't know, what is it? Just like cardboard cutout best friend.
I was going to say it's her character that's the problem. Really, her character's so bad. Like, I've not watched Total Divas, but is she this bad of an actor on Total Divas?
She's more kind of sort of likable. Yeah.
Yeah,
but like, a bit more
but
real.
like when they give her words to say on Total Divas, does it sound as convoluted and scripted as it does here?
Like, she's a different kind of bad to someone like Nia, though, because Nia, when she's not on her A game, shortly, she just sounds wooden and disinterested. Natalya's putting in quite a lot of effort, but she's just not good.
Okay.
So yes, they got Coachman to be the master of ceremonies here, which I have to think is a rib on Coachman, considering his previous comments about Ronda Rousey, how she's done, she'll never draw anything ever again.
Well, no, I thought it was because he's got the ESPN connection, and it makes it seem like he's seen as a legitimate sports broadcast. Sports. You can tell that I watch them. Sports. Watching all the sports, me. Sports broadcaster.
Yeah, I mean, if he did have that reputation, I think it's been slowly chipped away at with every passing week of commentary.
Yeah.
But I just thought, you've got a perfectly good Renee Young somewhere backstage.
Oh, she was busy getting ready for the Sami Zayn segment.
Yeah,
though.
she had to flip a coin. It's the most excitement she's had in months. Because it fits in with your women's narrative. And Renee Young's great.
Yeah.
And she could have really drawn out personality from these two stones here.
Problem was, though, that Renee's, her real skill is answering a question and then fading away into the background, but she was, Coachman was on a chair, which would have been very difficult for Renee then to fade off into the background.
But Coachman did do the same thing. He essentially said one question, and then...
He didn't feel so good.
You heard the click, and then off into the ether. So, yeah, Nia Jax was... They were both sitting face-to-face in these chairs.
Side to side.
Side to side, yeah, slightly angled. And... But Nia she sort of talked about how WWE is different because the UFC, you can't have headbutts, you can't have hair pulling, you can't have slaps. Pretty sure you can have slaps.
Yeah, or knees to the back, I think was one of the other ones.
Yeah, but shots to the base of the spine.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've never really bought into that stance of how Ronda's the underdog here.
No, especially because like UFC is legitimate fighting, and this isn't.
And
I
just
guess in a kayfabe world,
just the stuff at the end of the segment, I really enjoyed, because whenever Ronda gets physical, it's actually like she's actually the best at it. But that is the only thing she's the best at in a wrestling context at the moment. She could improve. I thought just her general presence while Nia was speaking was completely lackluster, and Nia's performance as well was really wooden. And I hate it when women wrestlers feel the need, or it's scripted for them, I guess, to say, hey, you're beautiful, you're strong, you're really talented. Like, beautiful shouldn't come into it. This is what, like, you should never, if you're really trying to push this equality thing, you drop the whole idea of women needing to be beautiful as a prerequisite for existing.
Yeah, when Paul Heyman was cutting promos on Roman Reigns prior to WrestleMania, he didn't go like, God, you're so handsome.
Your hair's amazing.
Your hair's luscious.
But you're going to lose to Brock Lesnar. I really, really hate it. Like you would never... It's a big problem, because they always say when you're raising kids, when you praise the boy, you're like, oh, you're so smart, well done, you're really strong. But when you tend to praise girls, and I think it's just a default mindset, oh, you look so pretty.
You're a princess.
You're princess. And that's like, it's just going to condition them to seek that sort of reward out. Like, I've got to be pretty, I've got to be beautiful. When really you want to be like, no, you're smart. You're just as smart and strong. Not just as smart and strong, but, that's what we're praising you for on those metrics. So I hate it when it's done by adults in a company that professes to push this kind of agenda themselves.
I agree.
But the physical stuff was good.
Physical stuff was awesome.
Arm bars are great.
Arm bars are great. I thought Nia actually did a really good sort of sell job on it. But it was like... they stand up and they shake hands, and then Nia headbutts her, and then they get into this little scuffle, and then Ronda struggles to lock on the arm bar, and then she does. And Nia tapped out. And I did things like, oh, why did you do a tap-out spot 6 days before their big match? Like, why would you... And then Cole says, like, that's the question we've had for weeks now. Can she get on the armbar? And I was like, no, it hasn't. That's not the question you've asked at all. Like, it's... I don't understand why they did Nia tapping.
Nia Jax doesn't look strong at the moment. Like, even... I know she squashed that jobber the other week, but, like, Nia felt a much bigger threat last year. In just the way she was dominating matches and throwing people around. I'm not really into this feud. I get why it was in front of the live audience, because the physicality at the end works best in that environment, I suppose. But why not do all the other bits pre-taped?
Like the AJ Nakamura contract signing?
Yeah, a bit like that, or more just like a sports package thing where you can put in dramatic music.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, this either live or pre-taped didn't really bother me. It's Nia tapping out, I thought, was idiotic.
After this, we got one of the better surprises of the show.
I was actually saying this might have been my favourite segment of the show, actually.
Yeah.
I loved this.
So, No Way Jose and Kurt Hawkins have a match. They've built up that Kurt Hawkins is now on 200 losses. This will be his 201st if he doesn't turn things around. And No Way Jose has his weird thing down to the ring. He gets into the ring, and they're waiting for Kurt Hawkins to enter. And the music's played. It's played for a while. Referee Rudy Charles, best referee in WWE, says, okay, well, I'm just going to start counting him out then. 1, 2, and he gets to like the 4 count. One of the weird sex party entourage runs in and attacks Jose from behind. I did not see that coming. Great.
Great stuff. Really, really good. And then to cap off and even to make it even better, Jose just turned around, lamped him in the face, and pinned him. Awesome. Loved that.
Yeah, so hopefully they can do this every week and find new fun ways for Kurt Hawkins to nearly win.
Yeah.
Then we got Balor and Bobby talking backstage, saying they don't trust Kevin Owens, but they don't really trust each other either. No. Ooh. And then a really sweet Special Olympics video package with the Big Show. Not that he's in the Special Olympics, it was a girl. But he's kind of like their ambassador.
Do you want to take any issues with this, Ollie? Like
no, this was nice. No, I liked the previous week. I just wanted it to work into an angle.
I'm messing.
Hopefully, Big Show and the girl who was deadlifting in the Special Olympics thing here, probably the new tag team champions at SummerSlam.
Hey, could be. Stranger things have happened.
Then we got... It's a good show. Then we got Bobby Roode. I've written Bobby Roode. It's not, is it? It's Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn. I
hope you edited that in the script.
I did. The latest chapter in their thing. This thing that they've been having week to week.
In all fairness to them, this has been I'd say maybe one match, maybe one of two matches that are going into Money in the Bank that actually has had a storyline. It's not a good one, but it has had a storyline with weeks of progression to lead to the pay-per-view match. To credit where to give credit, it has had that.
I'm conflicted about this because I hate it, but I enjoyed this.
You enjoyed this one? So
it's cognitive dissonance. I don't know how to articulate it.
And I did groan and roll my eyes a little bit because you saw the guys coming down and they were setting up an obstacle course around ringside. And I had these flashbacks to NXT when they did the first season of that. And then they're putting over hey, Sami Zayn is going to make Bobby Lashley run an obstacle course. And Sami Zayn comes out and cuts a promo and he says, last week I made reference to I don't think that Bobby Lashley was ever in the army and people booed me. But hey, you've all shown me pictures and documents, but I can't verify those. So I've set up an obstacle course for Bobby to do. And he takes you around there. It's like a rubbish version of the Broken Skull Challenge, and which is one of my favourite shows on TV. And he kind of walks around and kind of shows you everything that it is. And he says, now in the military, it takes people about 2 minutes to do this. Me, I did it in 90 seconds, which I thought was a wonderful line. And you can tell it's military because it's got mesh on it. And then he says that he's going to win, and then he's going to dedicate his victory to a great military power, Canada. Which I thought was also great,
especially with recent frictions between the leaders of those countries.
Just to get some nice little cheap heat in there, and just like Canada, hey! Just so you know, at the end of the segment, you need to chant USA, just to remind you.
And there were 3 jumps of escalating difficulty. And each jump, or wall to climb over, rather, was named after one of Bobby's sisters.
Yeah, so it really was like Broken Skull Challenge.
Yeah, and which did get a chuckle from me. And the timer on the Titantron had a cutout of Sergeant Slaughter up there.
Yep.
So this is the thing. I enjoyed this, and then Bobby Roode comes out.
Bobby Lashley.
Oh, I did it again. Bobby Lashley comes out. Another smiling guy comes out. The smile thing is so generic, I can't even see race anymore. And Sami Zayn really milks it and says, you start on mine, and you start on my count, not your count. Renee, flip the coin. I'm not getting close to Bobby because look what he did last time. He hurt my hand. And that was all enjoyable. And then when Bobby did the actual assault course, I was like, it's quite impressive to watch a man be that fast and strong.
Yeah, he did it in like 42 seconds.
With flourishes. Yeah. Because he didn't use his legs to climb the rope. And when he gets to the end of the monkey bars, he sort of does a pull-up as well. Yeah. Look really cool. And on the last wall to climb over, there was a rope. He doesn't use it. He just, jumps.
Jumps over. Jumped over it.
That said, though, as enjoyable as those bits were, and Sami Zayn's performance, because he really is good, even though the material he's working with is awful. It's an obstacle course segment. I know. This is the go-home angle for your feud. And why would Bobby Lashley agree to do this obstacle course? And last week, I was like, at the end of their segment, that was a crap segment, but there was a little glimmer of hope at the end where Sami accused Bobby of never being in the military, and it got a genuine ooh reaction from the crowd. That was gold. Do that bit more. And I guess you did do that bit more. You just did it in a stupid pro wrestling way that doesn't make me believe anything.
Yeah.
And it's just like the amount of people this segment had to go through, the amount of people had to go, yeah, let's do that. Just to get all the stuff to the ring and get the obstacle course bits of equipment made. Why didn't anyone say no?
No, and again, in the kayfabe sense, why did Bobby even entertain this? They always say that when you're being bullied, you just ignore what the bully is doing. You don't go around and be like, oh, if a bully sets up you an obstacle course, I don't then go oh, I'm now going to do this obstacle course and prove them wrong.
Yeah.
No thanks, because I just get the feeling you're going to beat me up afterwards.
Or one of them's going to be faulty.
Yeah, exactly, because you've done this to make me look like an idiot, and you do that enough as it is. So like, I don't know. It didn't really. It was great to see him do the course in 40 seconds. Very impressive. But at the same time, like in a kayfabe sense, it made no sense.
Yeah. So
Boring feud.
And then and Sami attacks Bobby after he completes it really quickly in half the time that Sami claimed to have done it, and then it just fizzles out. Like it was just a double axe handle to the back from Sami on Lashley.
Quite the double axe handle, though, wasn't it?
And then the segment ended.
Crowd did chant USA though, so mission accomplished.
You just need to give them a hint of the red, white, and blue, and they'll start chanting USA.
So, but the segment ended hotly with the crowd chanting USA. So it worked in a sense.
And then we got the main event, which we've already spoken about. So overall thoughts on Raw?
Yeah. What did you give it?
I gave it average in the end.
Yeah, that's pretty well I would have said. 3 out of 5.
Like, I actually enjoyed the 2 4-ways.
Yeah.
There was the great, really good Elias Seth Rollins segment. I really liked the Kurt Hawkins bit. The obstacle course didn't offend me as much as I thought it would do. When they started promoting it earlier in the night, I was like, oh my God, it's happening. They made it worse. But it was actually passable. It's kind of like when Lana and Naomi had that dance off, and you're like, oh God, why did I even bother? And then you're like, that wasn't bad.
But I suppose the question is, Oliver Davis, and I think you have brought this up previously. I thought the show was 3 out of 5. I'd have given it an average as well. But it's a go-home show for a pay-per-view. Does that not then knock it down? Because, did any of these segments make you excited for Money in the Bank?
Yeah, as a go-home show, it didn't make me more excited for Money in the Bank this weekend. So in that purpose, it has failed. You're right. And it's not just a pay-per-view. It's now one of WWE's big 5 pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I thought... I went into this show thinking I was going to hate everything because of the quality of wrestling we've watched over the last week with Dominion and Best of the Super Juniors. And it wasn't bad. And my very low bar was vaulted over Bobby Lashley's style.
Yeah.
So
it was a strong shrug of the shoulders. It was fine.
On another week, if I was in another mood, it could have been poor. So it was, that's what it is.
Could have been.
But that's all we've got time for today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk videos. And click this little square bit here because that will subscribe you to the WrestleRamble podcast, which has exclusive intros and outros. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.